So I wanted to talk a little bit about how to make realistic footage for action sports, and we're going to be talking today about ND filters because I was recently at a bike park and discovered the power of ND filters and wanted to share what I learned with them because they can make your footage for any action sport look way more realistic, and you can add that speed element into your videos. I am always on the mission to make the most immersive and realistic videos that I can on my mountain bike channel, and sometimes when I'm filming on my standard action camera or my 360 camera, more so this camera, the footage is very sharp. It's not realistic. It's cool, but it's not realistic. And this is where ND filters come in. So ND filters, if you've never heard of these or seen them, they're basically just filters that go on top of your lens. And what they do, they restrict the amount of light that's coming into the sensor of the camera. And what this allows you to do as a filmmaker or mountain biker or whoever you are, you can actually manipulate your settings on the camera and run a lower shutter speed, which means you are able to achieve this motion blur effect on the side of your footage, which looks super realistic, which I'll play a bit of footage now from the bike park so you can see what I mean. But if you look at the sides of the frames, you'll see it's fairly realistic compared to if I was just shooting without an ND filter. ND filters, the ones I have here, come in different sizes or different like strengths. So we've got ND8, ND16, ND32. The ND32 is the darker of the ND filters and the ND8 is the lighter. And I usually use the ND8 or the ND16 for mountain biking. And what you do, you simply pop it over your lens, and that's what you have. And then in the settings in your camera, what you're able to do, you're able to manually set your settings so it's not shooting on automatic. So I'm just going to show you here. So the ND filter's on now, and then if we go into our settings, I'm just going to show you the settings I would use for mountain biking. So I go 4K 30. I actually have the stabilization on low, believe it or not. I tried it with off, but it's just too unstable. But I feel high and standard is again too unrealistic, but low, even the stabilization on this camera is amazing, so you don't need that much stabilization really. I've got an action view. Then we go to manual settings, and depending on where you're shooting, I generally have my shutter speed set at double my frame rate. So my frame rate is 30 frames a second, as you can see there. Shutter speed is double the frame rate, so I've got 1/60. That's a good rule of thumb. And the ISO, now on the Insta360 camera here, you can choose the max ISO. So it will then work within a range of its lowest ISO and a maximum of 400. So if you're shooting in lighter scenarios, then really sunny days, I probably keep it at 400 max. But if you're shooting, say, in the woods or in the dark forest, then I probably would go up to maybe max 1600. I wouldn't go any higher than that. Otherwise, you're going to start getting noise in your footage. It's not going to look very good. 800 max though is probably decent. I also would drop my EV comp down to either -0.3 or -0.7, which is just helping me keep more of the detail. Auto white balance, or generally set this around 5000K for me. Standard color usually, or if you want to do some color grading, I would probably just shoot in flat, and then you can refine all the colors and fine tune things later on. And that's how I set my camera up with the ND filter for mountain biking. So I've only really discovered the world of ND filters in this last year or so, but they are so powerful when they are used in the right setting. That's the most important thing, because you can't just whack these on all the time and your footage will be improved. Sometimes they're not the greatest, but when you have a very exposed day, like it's really blue sky, and you want to get that speed blur in your footage, or the lighting is very consistent, so you've always got the similar lighting condition through the whole video, that's when ND filters will come in really handy. I'll leave links below to the ones that I have. You can get these for pretty much every action camera. I used them on the Insta360 Ace Pro 2. Really useful, really simple to carry around in, and they will improve your footage like drastically. They will make your action sports look 10 times better and 10 times more realistic. So yeah, I hope this was useful for you. I will leave links below to my action camera video settings cheat sheet, and YouTube will recommend some more videos here which I recommend you check out next.